Police officers don't know the law. This is a new channel out of Jacksonville, Florida. And the way he speaks to police, he's very cordial. But I gotta tell you guys something. You can tell he's kind of new at this, and that's okay. Because if I was there was a lot of things that I would have said different. This officer basically said that it's okay to violate people's rights. Pay attention to the conversation. Go subscribe to this new channel. Leave him some comments and help him get better at what he's doing. Just like you guys did for me. I'll see you guys over in his comment section. Here's your video, folks.
How you doing tonight, Sarge? What's going on, fella? I just seen all the lights. I came down here to see what was happening. Why we got this roped off right here? What happened? Can y'all tell me anything about it?
There was an incident right over here.
Oh, okay. So,
And it's being investigated.
okay. So if y'all don't mind, I mean, especially you, Sarge, since you probably got the authority to talk with me, or whatever the case is, have y'all been running into a lot of situations where, you know what I'm saying, there's just been a lot of conflict with the public lately? No? Do you think that the public have a lot of problem with police officers? Or you think it's anything, do y'all think that it's anything better that, let's say, a better way of handling some different stuff, like reactions from the public or anything like that?
Well, that's kind of a question where anything can be handled differently. Is it better? I don't know. It depends. It's hard to say.
I can hear you on that. Okay. Well, let's just say this, for instance. One of the things that I run across a lot of, go ahead, Sarge. But if y'all are listening, one of the things I run a lot,
I'm sorry, yes, sir. Yeah, we got it. Yes, sir.
one of the things I run across a lot is basically officers not understanding the law. And I know that sounds strange, and I ain't trying to pick on nobody, kick nobody, or anything like that. But let's say with probable cause to ID someone, a lot of times it seems like when officers roll up on us.
Probable cause to ID somebody.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes,
You
you
need
do.
reasonable suspicion to ID somebody.
Well, that reasonable suspicion gives you the probable
less
cause
than
in
probable
order to
cause.
ID. I feel you. It's less than probable cause. So with a reasonable articulable suspicion, usually that's not what happens in different encounters. Because basically what happens is, as soon as the officer gets on the scene, whoever he has been called there for, or whoever he thinks he's been called there for, he'll automatically say, let me see some ID.
Yeah.
But without that reasonable articulable suspicion for the crime being committed, there's no reason to ask for ID.
It's different when you're called somewhere versus when you're just walking down the street and we stop.
Not necessarily. Yes, sir. And the reason why I say that is because of this. Let's say the person who called you got on the phone and, yeah, he down here, he's harassing everybody, you know, he's being belligerent, this, that, and the third, I need somebody here now. That's a word from one side of the story. And if y'all get here and identify the person because of the description, and then you automatically know that that's who you need to see, and then you say, let me see some ID. There's no RAS there.
Depends on what it is.
Depends on what it is. I can understand that.
It all depends on the situation.
Now, if the guy or whoever it was stole something, and the person inside says, I have it on tape, that was him, I can understand saying, I need you, I'm getting ready to detain you. I need you to give me your ID because they're telling me that you're the one that did this. Now, there's an investigation that needs to go on, and a lot of times the investigation doesn't really happen before the ID is asked for. But let's say if you...
What if I say you come in here and you steal something from the store, right?
Right.
And I get a call notice that says, hey, it's a black male with a black hat. He's got a blue t-shirt and digital camouflage pants on. He's the guy who stole from the store.
Right.
Who's to say that if I go in there and talk to them, and you're standing outside, and while I'm in there, you take off? It's easier if I just detain you first while I investigate, because regardless, you're a subject in my crime that I'm investigating. So I will detain you first, investigate it, and if I find that you're not the guy, then I just cut you loose.
And I can understand that because of the fact I look the
It's just
part
like
as
when
far
I'm
as the description is concerned,
Absolutely.
but does that also say, I can understand possibly a detainment, but does that also say give me your ID?
Yeah, if I'm
because of
detaining
that?
you, I'm gonna identify you.
Okay.
If I'm detaining you, it means I have reasonable suspicion to ID you. And if you don't give me your identification, then you can be arrested, charged with resisting. It's
Okay.
not resisting arrest, it's just resisting an officer. In Florida, it's not like resisting arrest. Resisting without violence is just a very general crime.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because sometimes it's like, hey man, I didn't do nothing wrong, and then get a charge of resisting arrest without violence.
Yeah.
That's-
It's just easier to just comply, let us do our thing, and then because you get a lot of guys that walk themselves into going to jail for nothing. You know what I mean? Because we're trying to investigate a crime and they start resisting, and then they walk themselves into jail, and it's all on them.
I can see your
I
point.
would prefer to not take anybody to jail if I can avoid it. You know what I mean? Not for something petty or whatever.
Well, that's outstanding to hear. That's outstanding to
you know?
hear.
And that's how I would argue that most officers are like that.
I'm hoping that that is that way in Jacksonville, but that's one of the reasons why I like to have a conversation with y'all, because there's a lot of different things that are happening that it's almost like the rights that we would normally have or should have by the Constitution and different things like that is disappearing. And with you guys, you got qualified immunity and things like that. So if you make a mistake, then you don't have to end up paying for that mistake because it was an honest mistake. But a lot of officers take advantage of the fact that you got that qualified immunity, and it doesn't matter if a mistake is made or not. I got another arrest under my belt.
Qualified immunity only protects you if you're in the right. If you're in the wrong, it doesn't protect you. It only protects you if you're in the right.
I can understand your point, but I have to agree to disagree on that one.
It's the only way to protect you.
Because
But we're not the only ones with qualified immunity. Our government officials have it too.
yeah,
Foreign nationals that from foreign dictators and other governments also have it.
that's right.
You know what I mean? We're not the only police aren't the only ones.
That's exactly. But
Yes,
you
only-
guys generally are the
Right.
main interaction that a general person of the public will have with qualified immunity. So it's just a few questions of curiosity about that, because I've been in traffic stops where, okay, they stop the driver.
Yep.
You guys have every right to take everybody out the car if you feel like it. However, that does not give the right to have to ID
Yes, it does.
that passenger.
We do have the right to ID all passengers within the vehicle.
And-
And if you choose to not identify yourself, then you can be arrested for resisting.
Why would there be a right to ID the passenger even if there's no reasonable articulable suspicion of that passenger doing anything wrong? The only reason for the traffic stop is what the driver did.
But if they make contact in person, you have to seat, have a seatbelt on. You have to articulate. You need to ID.
That's a different story.
You have different reasons.
Now, if that's the case, that's I can understand that. Say he's got his seatbelt on, hasn't done anything, hadn't even said nothing to y'all, but he's recording.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more. It's not just. It's situations.
Regardless, when we stop a car, it doesn't just apply to the driver. It's now a legal stop for the entirety of the vehicle. So we now have the right to identify everyone in the car and tell whether or not anyone has to stay in the car or has to get out of the car.
Well,
See what I'm saying?
that's something I can definitely say I'll leave to you guys' discretion, because you guys have reasons for why you would want everybody out of the vehicle. The only thing that I would disagree on would be the point of, if that passenger has done everything right, nothing wrong, just because that driver got stopped shouldn't be a reason to ID that passenger and have them give up their Fourth Amendment rights when they haven't committed a crime.
Well, you're already giving up your Fourth Amendment rights because I've just pulled you over. I pulled over the vehicle, so you no longer you can't leave. You're not free to go. Nobody in the car is free to go. So regardless, then that's how we find a lot of people with violent warrants or whatever, because when we ID people, we're looking for warrants and things like that. That's it. We're not looking to ID them to give tickets and things like that. I mean, hell, the Oklahoma City bomber, he was found on a freaking traffic stop. You know what I mean?
But was he driving?
He was.
That's why I can
But
see
it
your
doesn't
point.
matter. Regardless, us being able to ID people, especially, you know, in a motor vehicle stop, when everyone has to be ID. Just the way it is.
I'm gonna do some checking on that because I don't really
we have
think.
a legal advisor that
I-
sends us updates on the law.
I definitely feel you guys that that's the way it's better for you guys, and it does work for you guys to help keep the streets safer in certain aspects. But I still feel that just because, I mean, because if I'm in a car with somebody and they decide to just do donuts in the street, I had nothing to do with that. But yet then I'm gonna get ID.
Yeah, you're getting ID, but nobody said you were going to get in trouble for that.
Right, but
But regardless, I'm still conducting a stop on the entirety of the vehicle.
all right.
So if you're in the car, we have the right to ID you. Do I do it every time? Does every officer do it every single time? Probably not.
Okay. You make a good point. I appreciate y'all talking with me. I ain't gonna stand and take too much of y'all time. I know y'all had some chit chat going on. What's your name, officer?
Officer Wisman,
Wisman?
Yeah.
All right.
Stanley.
Stanley. Okay, and badge number?
82011.
82011 83498. All right, man. I appreciate y'all time, man. I appreciate it. And I'll paint y'all in a good light, bro.
I appreciate it, boss.
There's another reason why I helped this channel, and that's because he's in Jacksonville, Florida, recording police, and that's where the Brittany Krishan incident happened. If you guys aren't familiar with the Brittany Krishan incident, look that up. I covered it on my channel as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go subscribe to Revolution Untelevised now. Let them know San Joaquin sent you. I'll see you guys.